Okay, so this will be my fourth installment of my flight simulator. I've got a couple new upgrades. I'm just going to start from left to right and talk about what I have so far. So right now on top I've got the three 24-inch monitors, Samsung, feeding off one computer just for the scenery. This monitor here is the new monitor, which is a touchscreen monitor now, feeding off the other computer for the instruments. So from left to right I've got my iPad with ForeFlight on it. I right now have Big Bear City tuned into this, as I have Big Bear up on the scenery. It's VFR flight today. Next to it I've got the Emitech 530 showing two 430s on there for this particular scenario, for the Avidyne Integra. Below it I've got a keypad which just handles my views. So that's my left view, my center view with the propeller, center view without the propeller, and right view of the right wing. I usually prefer to have the propeller showing when I fly, so I'll leave it at that for now. And next to the number pad I've got my dimmer for these LED lights I have for the instrument panel. You can see here they're dimming on and off with my dial. I eventually want to change those to red. Next to this I have my volume control for the aircraft. If I turn it up, you can hear that. I keep it low just for the video so you can hear what I'm saying. This is my 27-inch planar touchscreen panel. I use this for instrumentation. I use this because SimAVIO is touch oriented. I can do a heading bug and dial that down to 230, whatever I want. I can do increments of 1 degree. I'd like to have 260 because that's the heading I'll be taking off for the runway. And then you change to the altitude, which is going to be 13,500. So I can just put this up to 13,500. And I'll be climbing at 1,000 feet per minute. The barometer altimeter is going to be 3009 according to the ForeFlight, so I'll change that off of my GoFlight 46 module. So I need 3009. There we are, and it'll also correspond to there for 3009. Alright, and I'm also going to set up my direct to, because I'm going to be flying to John Wayne. This is just so I can have a DME on this. So I have a direct to, turn the dial here, my keypad, little virtual keypad comes up, but I always go down to my main keypad here, or keyboard here, punch in KS and A, hit the enter button again to activate, and there we have it. So it's on GPS, but I will not be hitting the nav right now. So here they have the transponder. I'll turn that on. I'll leave it on VFR. I'm now transmitting my transponder code. Okay, so that's how the instrumentation works for SimAVIO with the Avidyne Integra for the Cirrus SR22. Behind the SimAVIO, I'm also running another instance. I have two instances of X-Planer working, one on this computer and one on this computer. So if I just change windows, this is the X-Plane that's running behind SimAVIO. I do this for a couple of reasons. If I want to do any testing, all I have to do is have one computer on. I don't always necessarily need the scenery. And if I don't want to use SimAVIO, I can just blow this up so the instrumentation is on X-Plane, and I can use any X-Plane aircraft that I want with the instrumentation, because SimAVIO does not have a whole bunch of heavy metal aircraft instrumentation and stuff. They have a lot of GA stuff, and it's pretty good stuff, and I really prefer flying GA, so I don't really use that feature much, but it's nice to have, and I'm operating two computers anyway. So below this, I just have some fake breakers, circuit breakers, just for fun. I could hook them up to a board and have it operate some stuff, but that's just for fun. And when I do my checklist, I usually push them in to check them. And here's the GoFlight single engine starter, and master switches and light switches and pitot heat and all that fuel and all that other stuff. I'll turn on the lights, and below that I have my GoFlight ATC where I've got my headset plugged into. It's got squelch and volume. Of course, coming across, I've got my PFC Precision Flight Control yoke for the Cirrus. I've also added in a couple of extra little buttons for the aileron and the trim here, and my autopilot disconnect. Back here is my ATC contact, and these buttons I'm still dealing with and figuring out exactly what to do with them. These are centering buttons for the aileron and rudder and stuff for now, but I don't have it labeled because I keep changing them a little bit. Below here I have a timer in case I want to do holds or whatever, and it's nice just to have the clock right there. Across from this, it's my homemade throttle quadrant with the throttle, pitch, and mixture. Behind this thing, I'm actually using the GoFlight throttle, pitch, and mixture, but I've just attached it so it operates that board behind this. I have a video on this too if you want to go to my YouTube channel and check that out. Below that, I've got the GoFlight landing gear and trim. So here's which trim I don't use much because I have it on here also. I'll use this trim when I fly the Cessna. Landing gear when I have a Beach Baron or something like that. Here I've got my instrumentation. I added this to this module just to turn off my instrumentation lights. And of course I've got the flaps here and down here, but it also operates the data refs for SimAVIO to X-Plane. Okay, and across from here I've got my comms board. So I've got COM1, COM2, NAV1, which I use mainly. I've got the GF46, which handles the transponder if I want, altimeter, NAV2 if I need it, the standby NAV2, and a couple other buttons, ADF and whatnot. Below this is the PFC 430, which is only just a display here. It doesn't really do anything, but all the buttons work accordingly, and they actually work on this lower 430 over here. So this is my secondary 430 really, and the upper one here, you can see, is the primary 430. So this is COM1, COM2, and all these buttons work for the comms. So I'm here, I'm in the comms button right now, changing the frequency, and the lower button, the lower incrementation is here if I want. And what I'll do right now is I'll set that to 126 for the ATIS at John Wayne. I will be flying offline today just because this is a video and I'm just trying to do a lot of talking. So anyway, I got all that done. On this side here, I've just got buttons for the COM1, COM2 to change them over, idents, parking brake, a few other buttons that work when I go into the Windows mode of X-Plane. If I do that, I'll show you. I'll just hop over here. Nope, they're not working right now. Fantastic, not a problem. I won't worry about that. And here again is the transponder, altimeter, and of course the autopilot here also. But I kind of now use this autopilot because it's touchscreen. This was all before I had the touchscreen, so I can actually, you know, click on the heading buttons and the vertical speeds and altimeters here to get that all going. So I've got the heading at 260, altitude at 13,500. My vertical speed is 900, but I want it to be 1,000. And I'll put it back to the heading bug. So we should be good to go there. You can see the magenta line here on the map pointing towards John Wayne. So I'll just taxi down to runway 26 and we'll take off. taxiing, I'll look down here. So here's my two mice, one for each computer. Below that, I've got the rudder pedals that I'm using right now, also from PFC. They're the Sears rudder pedals. They're nice, very high quality. I also have the butt kicker attached to my seat here that vibrates as it's rolling, and you can adjust the intensity on that to make your seat vibrate when you're landing, taking off. It's actually quite realistic. Here I can also change fuel tanks. I've got the boost here, the prime here. Everything's off right now. Okay. So once we get airborne, I'll change it over to the GPS. My rudder pedals are a bit touchy. I have to still adjust that, but they're operational.
Entered runway 26.
That was ForeFlight telling me that I entered runway 26. Beautiful VFR day today. Everything in. Firewall the throttle. And here we go. We're looking for about 70 knots. Indicated for takeoff. Right about there. There we are. Now with all my headings and everything set, I should be able to hit heading and vertical speed, and away we go. Positive rate, I'll wait till we hit past 100 and slow down the plane a little bit. So this is coming out of Big Bear. Here I have all my other planes I like to fly. These are my 5 favorite planes. This is the Corvallis, the Baron 58. That's my Cessna 172. That's the 501 Citation. And of course this one is the SR-22 Cirrus. So I've got a positive rate now. I'm going to slow down the speed a little. We're still climbing. Climbing at 1,000 feet per minute, 8,000 feet. Now I'll set up the, I've already got this activated, so as soon as I hit nav, it'll turn towards John Wayne and hit the magenta line. And here we go. Excuse me. I've been a little bit sick lately, so I'm still coughing a little bit, so please forgive me for that. So I'm going to flip over now that I've got all this taken care of. I'm going to flip to my maps. I will center up wherever my aircraft is, right there. I'll jump in and I'll put in a little route here. So I want L35 to KSNA. Turn. So it'll give me the magenta line there. This magenta line has nothing to do with this magenta line. It's just a line of reference. It will turn in that direction though. Oh. There we go. I knew it was there somewhere. We'll center up the plane again. So here's the plane. Here's the magenta line. I'll be turning left right away. We're at 9,400 feet. We're slowing down a little to give it a bit more throttle then. Now I'm just going to push ahead here and see where I'm going. You see I'm actually going through 2 airspaces here with the magenta line, so that should be fine. Once I get past these, a little bit of a mountain, I will reduce my altitude quite a bit. I just know that I need to be fairly high in this area because we have 11.8 here, and just want to be safe in that. So I know I'm already over, but I always like to be safe. So we're direct to John Wayne, and I'll be I can and set up the lowering of the altitude now. So right now I'm at 13.5. I want to go to about 3.5. Takes a while to get there, but it'll get there. I could do it quicker by a few other functions, but if I do this, that'll just give me to 1,000 feet, and I can drop that down quick, and then put it at the 5. Set our vertical speed down to 1,000 feet per minute. So now we're descending. Now we're picking up a lot of speed, so we'll throttle back so we don't go over the yellow line, which is more cautionary. So if we look here, we've got an airport there, and it is San Bernardino. So on this MFD here, you can also do a few other things. We've got the map trip. It'll show up your flight plan and stuff if you put one in. Your nearest airports. It doesn't do the METAR yet. Maybe in the next version it will. I hope so. But these certainly work, and you can pick them. Pick the airport info if you want. So it gives you some basic information. It's got the checklist, so it's got the whole checklist on here, and you can scroll down and grab which one you want. Okay, and auxiliary doesn't do anything yet. It's unavailable right now. Another important one is the engine. It's got all your gauges here, your temperatures for your exhaust gas temperatures and your cylinder head temperatures. Few buttons to push there. You can show the initial fuel. You can declutter the map if you want. 3 or 4 steps. Change your north up view to forward, center. Put it back. I like the north view, always do, so I know where I'm going. So we're slowly descending down to 3,500 feet. This will automatically go to 0 feet per minute when it does hit 3,500 feet. So if you look at the X-plane behind this, you can see I have it pretty barren. I've got all the rendering settings down low. I really don't care what this is like, because I always use X-plane or SimAVIO with this, so I really don't care how it looks. And when I'm testing, I don't care how it looks either. So, and when I do use just X-plane with the visual and the instrument, like I say, I'll pull up the whole instrumentation, so the whole cluster pack will be on the screen. So I'll just turn this one, oh, not that one, sorry. This one here. So I can see how far we gotta go. We've got 43 nautical miles. It should take about 14 minutes. Since I'm on nav, I also want to set up my heading bug. So all you have to do is push this button in the center. It centers up the heading bug. Here's my redundant gauges in case this fails. I'll slow down this just a bit more, go down to 25%. I'm looking at this right now, just to keep it from going over the yellow caution line for the speed. Don't want to break the aircraft. I also have this just for reference, my VFR altitudes, whatever heading I'm flying, odd 500, even 500, plus if I ever fly IFR, which I don't do very often, but I always like to have the craft up there. It's just something just because I'm just having fun having simulator. Here's where I put my, write down all the flight plan and frequencies and weather and information I need to talk to ATC with when I use Pilot Edge. Another great service. You can see here that this all corresponds to what I'm doing. My altitude is at 3,500, and I didn't touch this. I did everything off of SimAVIO, but it's at 3,500, 1,000 feet. Heading showing at 223, and so is that one. So 223 there, 223 there. So I could adjust this if I was doing heading. The course is showing 223, but it's 222 here, but that's okay. 1 degree off is not bad. This is showing GPS because that's what we're on. We can see our nautical miles here, which corresponds to this, and our estimated time of en route time. It's 12:50. Now you can see that I'm coming into a mountain range here. I'm still at 5,000 feet right now, going down to 3,500. So I will have to take off my GPS and fly just on autopilot with a heading to get into the Santa Ana Canyon, which is, well, my plane's gone from here. We'll center him up again. So here's my plane again. So here I'm flying in between the two airspaces, one here and one there. Here's the aircraft. Here's my magenta line. And here's Santa Ana Canyon. So here's my GPS line basically. I'm going to be turning off and going here to avoid this mountain range so I can stay at the lower altitudes. I hope my head's not moving too fast. I'm using my new GoPro. Try to slow it down. I keep forgetting it's on. I just have a head mount. As you can see, my head's swiveling everywhere. So if I change my views in the air, there's my left-hand view, my center view, my right-hand view, and my center view without the propeller. I'm now at 3,900 feet, so it's going to be needing some throttle right away. If I use my backspace button on there, I get this view. It's the Chase View Deluxe, so I can move the aircraft around. It's a nice rendering of that aircraft. That's the Jason Chandler SR-22, a nice little aircraft he did there. This is the Chase View from X-Plane, and then I forget what this view is called. And then back to the propeller. So we're 3,500. Our speed is dropping. We may as well pick that up a little bit. I'll go to about 60%. I can take the mixture out a little, lean it out a little bit. I usually like to put about 12 gallons per hour if it doesn't hesitate too badly. Seems like we're okay there. RPMs are 2385, should be 2400, so we're pretty close there. So I'll just check where we are here. Okay, so we'll just get a little more past this airspace. This airspace is height-wise on the outside ring, 5,000 to 2,700. So I'd be right in there If I flew in there right now, I'd be in that airspace, so I'm not going to do that. I can actually just, if I go to the other view here, I can actually follow this highway and it'll take me to the Santa Ana Canyon also, just to know where I'm going. And that's usually a fairly safe route. As you can see, the highway is right here. So staying on that, I usually stay outside of the airspace. We'll put the propeller back. Check ATIS on the frequency here for John Wayne.
Orange County, John Wayne Information Uniform. 1900 Zulu weather. Sky clear, visibility more than 10. Temperature 192.-5. Line 250 at 6. Altimeter 2995. Arriving and departing runway 19 right. Advise on initial contact. You have
So we're good. So we'll just take that off of there. So I've changed the altitude to 29905, and I'll now put this onto heading. I've already got in line with my GPS, so it shouldn't vary too much. And I'll put it onto the heading mode. Just a little turn there. And now I'll just turn to the right and try to hit that canyon. A bit too much, might have to come back a little. Yeah, just a little bit. You see, I went way too far here. I'm going to be coming into that airspace, so I should maybe go about there. We'll take it down to 245 right there. Down to straight and level flight after the turn. We're still, our airspeed is still good. Be very interesting to see how this video turns out with this GoPro. I'll be doing a little editing on iMovie and put her together and upload it to YouTube. See if I can select an approach here. So we'll select runway 20 right. We'll take it from Sager. I'll load it. Yes. So it's 1175, and I'll change this to, since I'm flying heading anyway, I can change this to VLOC, so all my stuff comes on, my glide slope and my LOC, and I'll change this to VLOC also, just for fun. So I've got 1175, which is the frequency for John Wayne for runway 20 right. So now let's just go back to procedure and activate procedure. And put it onto nav. So we'll actually get there. This will probably do the whole procedural turn and everything too. But that's okay, we can do all that. Oh no, I'm going, actually we'll go to flight plan. And we'll go direct to snake. So hopefully that'll take us direct to snake. Yeah, it changed right now. So we're trying to get there. It's not saying it's connected yet because we're too far out. We're slowly coming into it now though. This is not going to show anything too great right now because it has nothing to do with this particular GPS. So the glide slope is now starting to move. I'm going to start slowing down a little. I always like to slow down early. Get the speeds going right. So here I am coming up in snake. We need to make that turn in order to get this line going here. And here it comes. Here it comes right now. And now we're turning. This might take a few turns back and forth in order to get completely lined up. Glide slope's coming in nicely. There's our airports right up here. You can just see the lights. This is just showing you how things work. I wouldn't be doing this from VFR when I was online. I'll hit the approach button's already kicked in. So I'll slow down a little more. I've got 1 mile away from the next waypoint. So you see now I'm descending now with the glide slope. So everything's locked in. I'm locked in right on the runway heading. I'm locked in on the glide slope, so it's just a matter of maintaining my speed so I don't stall. So at 121 indicated airspeed, I can go to the first set of flaps, which is 50%. So we should have that no problem at all. And when I do that, I'll push the yoke in a little bit to compensate for the flap that's going down until everything settles in. And also probably increase the throttle a bit to keep the speed up because the speed will drop when the flaps go down. So that's close enough. We will now hit the first set of flaps. Compensate with my yoke a little. Watch the speed drop drastically, so I'd like to pick that up before it goes to 100. I like to fly because the next setting is about 100 for your flap setting, so now I'm pretty well settled into that. And landing speed is about 80, 85. Now that we've got all this, we'll throw the mixture all back in. Take a look at got the first set of flaps. You see the runway just on the left-hand side of the aircraft there. last leg here before we hit the runway. Don't have to worry about landing gear. This aircraft is fixed landing gear, always down. So once I hit the last set of flaps down to 100% on the flaps, I will adjust the throttle again, compensate with the yoke, and settle into about 80 to 83 indicated airspeed for the landing. So I'm 3.5 miles out, so I've got a ways to go yet. Maybe at about 2 miles I'll set the last set of flaps. Right on the glide slope, or right on the localizer. .8, so you just keep watching things. Okay, we'll hit it now. So there we go. Last set of flaps. Yoke in a little. Compensate for the rise. Speed's going down, a little slower this time. I can speed it up a little just to get down to the speed I require for landing. I'll now disconnect the once we get down to about 200, I'll disconnect. Okay, so now we're at 82, which is fine. We'll just find that nice throttle distance there. Feels about right. Feet on the rudders. .400 feet. .300 feet. I'm going to disconnect now. Throttle back a little bit. Move it a bit more to center here. That's the first time I used the localizer on runway 20. It used to be runway 19er, right? Okay, and I'll just back off the throttle a little more here. And we will straighten this thing out a little here. Looking down the end of the runway, flare a little bit. Not too bad. Flaps up. Now this is where my rudder pedals are a little touchy. Try to keep it as straight as I can and hit the brake pressure a little. May miss that turn off. I'll leave that one alone. And there we are. We are down to John Wayne. I'll just drive taxi over to my car here, exiting west. I should say exiting north, I guess. And they always seem to have my car parked right here. I don't know why. And there she is. And parking brake. So that's it. That's the whole setup now. You can see my glide slope is now done. Everything's out of schwack because I'm now parked. Thanks for watching, guys. I had a good time. Have a good day.